What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 7 of the Ferrari GT3 Challenge track guides. This week we're at Willow Springs International Raceway, so this one should be quite interesting. Lots of long radius corners, very sort of desert, not many brake markers, so it should be quite interesting. So hopefully you guys all had a very good weekend at the Spa 24 Hour. Appreciate everybody that jumped in the streams, chats, liked the videos over the weekend. Yeah, we had a pretty decent weekend ourselves, so pretty happy with that, and looking forward to getting into this track guide with you in the Ferrari at Willow Springs. Let's go. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you come down into turn 1, you're looking for the 5th billboard along, which is the Toyota Willow Springs sign. But you'll also notice there's a little sort of change of direction in the white line on the road. So we're using that point to get the car to rotate in. So we're going 6th gear back to 4th gear as we take this corner. As we turn the car in, we sort of wait until we get to this point here. So you'll see the little crack in the road, and where the crack sort of gets that, I guess you could say, filler put over the top of it. So we're looking for the point just before the filler goes on, or the resin goes on the crack, and we want to turn in from that point there. So we turn in, nice and aggressive, get the car to rotate in, clip the apex halfway through. I sort of line up with the little white building right off in the far distance as my apex point. Once I get to that point there, the car's going to track wide. Up to 5th gear. I enter in 5th, and I don't really brake on entry until I sort of trail the brake in, but I don't really brake until I'm sort of 3/4 of the way through, and I'm sort of running at this point here. So I sort of come in at a weird angle. I sort of apex early on the way in, but I'm still a car width from the actual apex. And then once I get to that point, then I still like trail the brake right through. I sort of use this line halfway around the track as my sort of hold marker until I'm in line with sort of the last tree. Then once I'm in line with the last tree, drop back to 4th gear. I use this just to give the car a little bit more rotation. Once the line ends here, or the crack in the road, that's when I start to turn the car back at the corner, and I'm using the throttle, and I'm not flat on the throttle, but I'm dancing, and I'm trying to build speed up in it to get it around the corner. The only thing I will say is make sure that once you get to this second silo looking thing here, that you get the car to really rotate in as close to the white curb as possible. And then once you get to the green building off in the distance, that's when you want to hit the apex. So once you get it to this point here, clip the apex, then shift up to 5th gear. The car does tend to want to understeer and slide off the track here, so you've got to really make sure you get that line right. You're going to come... I try and give myself half a car width from the white line, just for the fact I know how easy it is to grab that little bit of sand and then flick yourself back towards the other side of the track. So I just give myself a little bit of caution there, but you can get really aggressive there. As you're coming back down, Now this one's a bit of a tricky one because your marker's actually halfway up on the hill and it's the toilet block, or it's not the toilet block, but the demountable toilet, and it is right there. So you'll see it just outside of my window there. So what I want to do is I want to be in line with that little water silo there, in line with the thing, and that's where I start to turn the car at the corner. I brake only just before it, and I go to third gear. Once I'm in third gear, I get the car to rotate in quite early, and I want to sort of hug this up the hill, but I don't want to hit the curb until I'm in line with this little barrel. If you hit it before, you sort of understeer and go wide. So I'm trying to sort of get the car in nice and tight, but then don't actually sort of get to the apex until I'm in line with that barrel at the top of the hill. And then I start to check the car. I sort of line up with the edge of the building as I'm coming up the hill. And then I get the car to a point where I'm following the curb around. Now, as I get to the end of the curb, I take a little lift. And then as I get halfway through here, this is where I completely lift off the throttle. And the reason I do that is I want to wrap the car around in on the line. And I find that if I lift halfway through, sort of at the second Willow Springs thing, I can get the car in third gear to follow this white line all the way around this corner. And then once I get to this point here, so in line with that light pole and the car's starting to go down the hill, that's when I can pick the throttle up again. Pick the throttle up and I chase the car. I don't let it go any wider than this here. And then I chase the car down the hill. Stay close to the right hand side as you come in. And then once the curb ends on the right here, I brake and I downshift one gear. So fourth back to third. And then once I'm down there, I turn the car at the corner quite early. I want to clip the apex when I'm in line with that second billboard. That's when I clip the apex, pick the throttle up. The car's going to push a little bit wide, so you're going to end up here. But that's okay, because you can carry the speed through this next one. Flat through here, up to fifth gear. Follow the curb. The car's going to track right out to the edge of the road, but you're all good. Run the car down the hill into the last segment of corners here. So follow the car the whole way down. Follow this through. You're still flat through here, right? Flat all the way through here. Once I start to line up with the house, I start to let the car track off the white line towards the edge of the road. And it's only when I'm directly in line with the white shed in the distance, so when it's like, not, I wouldn't say directly, but when it's in line of sight, that is when I start to aim the car straight. I brake, and it's not really a brake marker. I would say it's more like just a tap of brake to wash off a little bit of speed, so I can actually turn the car at the corner. So, and then I follow the trajectory of the edge of the road, and then once I get to this point here, where you can almost, so you brake when you get to the shed, and then you follow this round, and then once you get to a point where you can just spot the orange marker, like bollard, in the middle of the entry of the corner, that's when I start to turn the car at the corner and chase the car all the way out. So from this point here, turn the car at the corner, still in fifth gear, clip the apex near the end of the curb, so at this point here, and then I sort of line up with like pit road building, let the car track right off the edge of the road, all the way out to the edge of the circuit. You can even use a little bit of the pit lane here if you need to a little bit of extra runoff, and then chase it down the front straight back to turn one. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough lap of Willow Springs in the Ferrari 488 GT3 car. I hope this has helped you guys. Good luck for week 7 of racing, and we'll see you next week for week 8. See you guys.